Senegal's president Diomaye Faye is trying to please everyone, and that is playing with fire. When we say everyone, to the Pan-Africanists and to the West, to the imperialists as well. Now, it's in this regard that he has stepped out of the continent and he paid his visit on Wednesday to France. Now, as you all know, Senegal's president Diomaye Faye and also the Prime Minister Sonko, they came straight from prison to being a president and a prime minister. The party is led by the prime minister, who is Ousmane Sonko, who is really known for his revolutionary ideology. What we know from their campaign was that Senegal was on the path of joining the Sahel, the Alliance of the Sahel states, meaning Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. Now, that trajectory has been changed. It has made a U-turn, or I don't know, made a next road and said, we are with everyone. So he did his regional visit to the ECOWAS states, like 11 or 12 of them, the last legs being Burkina Faso and Mali. Niger, he did not pay the visit. And then he let it know to the world, and particularly to Africans, that the presidents or the leaders of these states, they said they will not join ECOWAS, because his mission was to bring them back to this regional bloc that they have left to ECOWAS. But they said that's a road of no return. And for the question that he was asking, asked to if Senegal was about to join, then he said, for now, they will be in ECOWAS and try to strengthen. So he made it clear. Now, not only that, also Ousmane Sonko, now with this government led by Diomaye Faye's interaction with France is not the first one. 2 weeks ago, there was a French political figure, a retired one. He paid a visit, which is on the far left of the political party, who was in support of this party led by Ousmane Sonko, the one in power now. And he said, he's against, by being with us, and he's against his government of Emmanuel Macron. So he paid a visit in Dakar, and in that time, the Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko had this gathering in Dakar University, and he made this speech, asking for the French military, the future of the French military in Dakar. 30% of Dakar, by the way, the capital of Senegal, is occupied by the French military. That's how it is. I mean, that speaks volume if Senegal is an independent country or not. Okay, so he asked the future of this presence of the French military and other, economical freedom, which most of their economy is controlled by France. Now, that is how it is left. Now, Diomaye Faye, I just wanted to give you a background, paid a visit to France, and he made a speech in front of the government there. Now, before that, I would like to invite you to listen to Ousmane Sonko's speech in the university as a reminder, and then we will go to Diomaye's speech in France. The credit of this footage goes to the YouTube channel called Africa is Powerful. So we thank you for that, for making it available in English.
At odds with the long-standing presence of foreign military bases on Senegalese soil. The meeting between Emmanuel Macron and Bassirou Diomaye Faye could ease tensions linked to the political crisis in Senegal that preceded the new president's arrival in power. Between 2021 and 2024, the legal battle between the PASTEF leader Ousmane Sonko and the former Senegalese government led to several periods of unrest, resulting in dozens of deaths and hundreds of arrests. Here is the transcript of the speech delivered by President Faye in France. Although the speech was delivered in French, I will provide a translation for better comprehension.
Monsieur le Président de la République française,
Mr. President of the French Republic,
Monsieur le chef d'État et de gouvernement,
our host, Mr. Head of State and Government, ladies and gentlemen,
Monsieur le Président de la Commission de l'Union africaine,
Mr. President of the African Union Commission,
Conseil d'administration de Gavi,
Mr. President of the Gavi Council of Administration,
invités, Mesdames et Messieurs.
Now, what you have to know, just a bit of a background, Diomaye Faye is now visiting France in the name of that. It was invitation that was extended to the previous president, or, to the country as a whole. The conference of the name is Global Forum for Vaccine Sovereignty. But of course, that it was made clear that there will be tete-a-tete meeting, as the French language calls it. That means a private meeting between Diomaye Faye and President Emmanuel Macron. In any case, this is his speech, so let's listen to it.
ambassadors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank the French authorities for the warm welcome and hospitality they have given us since we arrived in Paris. I am happy to join you today to participate in this mobilization campaign for vaccine sovereignty and innovation, called the launch of the African Vaccine Manufacturing Accelerator. I would like to congratulate the organizers of this meeting, Gavi, the World Vaccine Alliance, the African Union through the CDC African Vaccine Control Center, and our host France for their efforts in the service of public health. By my presence at this forum, I wanted to express my personal attachment to health and the place it occupies in the action of my government. The recent history of the COVID-19 pandemic has shown us how vulnerable we are, how unprepared we are in the face of the pandemic, and that consequently health must be a permanent priority. A little over 4 years ago, COVID-19 had severely disrupted our health system and endangered the vaccination programs that were then relegated to the background in the face of the urgency, of course, of fighting the pandemic. Thus, according to the UNICEF report for 2021, 23 million children had not received the basic vaccines necessary for their normal growth at the height of this health crisis. The pandemic had highlighted the structural disparities that already existed between developed countries and developing countries in terms of vaccination. Although Africa represents about 20% of the world's population, its vaccine industry provides barely 0.25% of the world's supply. The continent is still largely dependent on other regions of the world to meet these needs. It is to say the immensity of the task that remains to be accomplished for the vaccine sovereignty of Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, in commemoration of this meeting at the launch of the African Vaccine Production Accelerator, Gavi and all its partners are working together to correct the weak points of the continent in terms of responses to the pandemic, such as the lack of equipment and drugs, but above all, vaccines. We have experienced this during the COVID-19 pandemic with the late arrival and insufficient number of vaccines. One of the major challenges for Africa today is to produce vaccines, drugs, and diagnoses, but also to access the platforms of commercialization to fully participate in the fight against future health threats.
Et nous invitons tous les partenaires à soutenir cet agenda.
It is a political will of Africa, and we invite all partners to support this agenda, which constitutes a priority as well as other priorities related in particular to the situation of war or climate change. Africa has the capacity to produce local vaccines. Pioneer countries are committed to this, including Senegal with the Institut Pasteur de Dakar. I remind you that this institute has existed in Senegal for a century and that it has almost a century of experience in the production of vaccines. The Institut Pasteur de Dakar produced its first vaccine against yellow fever in 1937. This same vaccine received the OMS pre-qualification in 1966, so for more than 50 years. In the perspective of consolidating its achievements and realizing the goal of the African Union to produce on the continent 60% of the vaccines used on site by 2040, the Institut Pasteur de Dakar initiated, with the support of the Senegalese government, an ambitious industrial development program estimated at $252 million. This program aims to master the entire value chain in pharmaceutical production, from the identification of needs to the use of products by beneficiaries. The implementation of these infrastructures and the acquisition of equipment are in the process of completion. The site of the Vaccinople of Diamniadio, which constitutes one of the entities of this program, will have an annual production capacity of 3 million doses of routine epidemic or pandemic vaccines and will use the 3 technological platforms, including the messenger RNA. To frame all these initiatives, Senegal has already set up the National Agency for Pharmaceutical Regulation, which has used a lot to reach the required maturation and homologation phases. All this would not have been possible without an extraordinary effort in the mobilization of resources for the financing of research, innovation, and health infrastructures. I thank the countries, institutions, and partner organizations, in the first row of which Gavi appears, for the support they provide to Senegal, in particular in the efforts to promote the vaccine and vaccination. Our partnership with Gavi, it should be noted, has yielded many positive results. Thank you, Mr. Barroso, for this constant support. It has greatly contributed to the efficiency of our national vaccination program and to the fight against early infant mortality. I know that Gavi does the same in other countries with such appreciated yields in terms of health prevention, adequate medical care in the fight against early mortality. As an essential pillar of solidarity and in recognition of the immense services it provides to the beneficiary countries, Gavi deserves the continued support of the international community. This is why, as President of the Republic of Senegal, I call on all countries and partner institutions to contribute generously to the reconstruction of Gavi's funds for the period from 2026 to 2030. Supporting Gavi's funding is also investing strategically and at a more sustained pace in the protection of our children, current and future generations. I will be engaged in this campaign for Gavi, and I invite you all to mobilize together. Thank you for your kind attention.
That was Diomaye Faye's speech on the forum, this global forum for vaccine sovereignty, in which France is the host. Now, what went on behind that private meeting between Diomaye Faye and President Emmanuel Macron will be, revealed later on, but for now it's in the pretext of trade relation and this and that. Senegal wants its economic freedom, but how well it handle it, as much of it is controlled by France. We will bring you as the reports coming in. Zegeta, the only hope for France in Africa are Senegal and Cote d'Ivoire. Hence, France will do everything to keep them as an ally. Yeah, we will see. Yeah, but thank you again. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you want to help us further, you can donate to our PayPal account. I shared it here in the chat section. You can also find it in the description section. Share the video with others. Do not keep it only to yourselves. Give it thumbs up. That will help our YouTube algorithm. That was it for now, but we will bring you, as the reports are coming in, whether it's from the Sahel Alliance states in general, from South Africa, BRICS, all. Just subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell for more videos. Ciao, ciao, and have a good evening.